A mother sits alone in her room, staring at a bank statement showing $7 million. The wedding photos of her son smile back at her from the dresser. She closes her eyes, knowing she made a choice that would change everything, but not in the way anyone would expect. What if I told you that keeping a secret could be the most powerful gift you could ever give someone? What if I revealed that sometimes the greatest act of love is silence itself? Before you judge what I'm about to share with you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because this story will shatter everything you think you know about family, money, and the impossible choices we make for the people we love most. Drop a comment right now telling me the biggest secret you've ever kept. I read every single one, and trust me, after hearing the story, you'll understand why some secrets are worth keeping forever. There are moments in life when a single decision can alter the entire trajectory of someone's existence. Moments when the weight of what you know versus what you choose to reveal becomes so heavy that it feels like carrying the world on your shoulders. I lived through one of those moments, and what happened next defied every expectation, every assumption, every conventional piece of wisdom about honesty and family relationships. This isn't just a story about money. It's about the invisible threads that bind us to the people we love and the extraordinary lengths we go to protect them from truths that could destroy the very foundation of who they are. The morning of my son's wedding should have been filled with nothing but pure joy. The kind of joy that mothers dream about from the moment they first hold their babies in their arms. I should have been fussing over his tie, wiping away tears of happiness, and basking in the glow of watching my child begin his own journey toward building a family. Instead, I found myself locked in a battle between my heart and my conscience, carrying a secret so massive that it felt like it was burning a hole through my chest. $7 million. That's not a number you hear every day. It's not the kind of money that exists in most people's reality. It's the kind of sum that appears in movies, in lottery winner stories, in the fantasies we have when we're lying awake at night wondering what we'd do if we suddenly had more money than we could ever spend. But for me, it wasn't a fantasy. It was sitting in my bank account, earning interest, growing larger by the day, and nobody, not my son, not my closest friends, not even my own siblings, knew it existed. My husband had been gone for 3 years. 3 years of learning to sleep in an empty bed, of cooking meals for one, of having conversations with his photograph when the silence became too overwhelming. He had been a quiet man, methodical in his approach to life, never one to flaunt wealth or draw attention to his success. I knew he had done well for himself, for us, but I had never imagined the true extent of what he had built. The lawyers who handled his estate seemed almost embarrassed to deliver the news, as if they were apologizing for the burden they were placing on my shoulders. $7 million changes everything, and that's exactly what terrified me. Money has a way of transforming relationships, of shifting the balance of power, of making people see you differently whether you want them to or not. I had watched it happen to other families, seen how sudden wealth could tear apart the strongest bonds, create resentment where there had once been love, and turn children into strangers who only called when they needed something. The thought of that happening to my relationship with my son made me physically ill. As I helped him get ready on his wedding morning, adjusting his cufflinks and smoothing down his hair the way I had when he was a little boy, I studied his face. He was radiant with happiness, completely focused on the woman he was about to marry, on the life they were planning to build together. They had been saving for years for this wedding, cutting corners, making sacrifices, and taking on debt to make their dream day possible. They had spent months agonizing over every detail, not because they were demanding or materialistic, but because every dollar mattered to them. Every choice had to be carefully considered, every expense justified. Standing there in that moment, watching him struggle with his tie because his hands were shaking with nervous excitement, I realized something profound. This struggle, this effort, this sense of working towards something and earning it, it was beautiful. It was theirs. It was real in a way that money could never be. If I told him about the inheritance, I would be robbing him of this moment, of this feeling, of the pride that comes from building something with your own hands and your own heart. But the weight of a secret was crushing. Every time he mentioned money, every time he stressed about the cost of the reception or worried about the honeymoon they had planned, I felt like I was lying to him. Not directly, but through omission. I was letting him struggle when I had the power to eliminate every financial worry he would ever have. What kind of mother does that? What kind of person watches someone they love stress about money when they could solve every problem with a single conversation? The ceremony itself was torture. Beautiful, perfect torture. As I watched him exchange vows, promising to love and cherish his new wife through good times and bad, through wealth and poverty, I couldn't help but think about the irony. Here he was, pledging to face financial hardship together, while I sat in the third row knowing I could ensure they would never face a single day of want. The secret felt like a living thing inside me, growing larger and more insistent with every passing moment. During the reception, I found myself studying the other guests, wondering what they would think if they knew. Would they judge me for keeping quiet? Would they understand the impossible position I was in? I watched young couples dancing, probably dealing with their own financial struggles, and I wondered if any of them were sitting on secrets that felt too big to share. The world is full of people carrying invisible burdens, and I was just one more. The real test came during the father-daughter dance. Since my husband wasn't there to dance with me, my son had asked if I would like to dance with him instead. As we moved slowly around the dance floor, with all eyes on us, he whispered in my ear how grateful he was for everything I had done for him, how proud he was to be my son, and how he hoped he could provide for his new family the way his father had provided for us. His words were like daggers. He was looking at me with such love, such respect, such admiration for the sacrifices he thought I had made, and I was keeping the biggest secret of both our lives. That night, after the guests had gone home and the wedding was over, I sat alone in my hotel room with my phone in my hand. I had drafted a text message to my son dozens of times, each one attempting to find the right words to explain what I had been hiding. But every time I tried to send it, I stopped. Something told me that this moment, this feeling of accomplishment and independence that he was experiencing, was more valuable than any amount of money I could give him. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. My son and his new wife threw themselves into their married life with the kind of energy and determination that only comes from having something to work toward. They found a small apartment they could afford, furnished it with secondhand finds and family heirlooms, and turned it into a home that was completely their own. They took on extra work to pay off their wedding debt, celebrated small victories like finally being able to afford a new mattress, and supported each other through the inevitable challenges that come with building a life together. I watched all of this from the sidelines, still carrying my secret, still questioning my decision every single day. But something remarkable began to happen. I started to see that the struggle was making them stronger. Every obstacle they overcame together, every small financial goal they achieved, every sacrifice they made for each other was weaving them together in a way that simply receiving money never could. They were building something real, something that belonged to them, something that no one could ever take away. The inheritance sat in my account, untouched and growing. I had moved it into investments that would ensure it continued to grow, thinking that perhaps someday when they were older, when they had built their own foundation of success and self-reliance, I might tell them about it. But for now, it felt more important to let them have this time of discovery, of building their own strength, of learning who they were as a couple, without the complication of sudden wealth. 6 months after the wedding, my son called me with news that made my heart swell with pride. He had been promoted at work, a recognition of his hard work and dedication. The promotion came with a significant salary increase, and he was calling to tell me that he and his wife were finally going to be able to start saving for a house. His excitement was infectious, and I found myself celebrating with him, genuinely thrilled about his success. If I had told him about the inheritance, would he have pushed himself to achieve this promotion? Would he have felt the same sense of accomplishment? I began to realize that by keeping the secret, I wasn't just protecting him from the complications of wealth. I was protecting his ability to grow, to succeed, to become the man he was meant to be. As their first anniversary approached, I made a decision that surprised even me. I decided to tell them about the inheritance, but not in the way anyone would expect. Instead of simply revealing the money and offering to share it, I decided to use it secretly to ensure their future security while still allowing them to maintain their independence and their sense of accomplishment. I quietly paid off their remaining wedding debt, anonymously, making it appear as if there had been an error in the billing. I set up a scholarship fund that would ensure any children they might have would be able to attend college without financial burden, but I arranged it so they would never know the source of the funding. The most important thing I did was establish a trust that would provide for them in case of emergency, medical bills, job loss, or any other catastrophic event, but would remain invisible to them unless they truly needed it. I wanted them to have the security that comes with wealth without the burden of knowing about it. I wanted them to live their lives, make their choices, and build their dreams without the influence of money they hadn't earned. This approach felt right in a way that simply writing them a check never could. They continued to work hard, to save money, to make careful financial decisions, and to build their life together one step at a time. They bought their first house 2 years later, a modest but beautiful home that they could afford with their combined income and the savings they had accumulated through their own efforts. The pride in their faces as they handed me the keys for the first time was worth more than any amount of money could ever be. But the most unexpected consequence of my decision to keep the secret was how it changed me. Living with that kind of financial security while watching my son and his wife build their life from the ground up gave me a perspective on money that I had never had before. I began to understand that wealth isn't just about having money. It's about having the freedom to make choices, to take risks, to be generous, and to live without the constant worry about survival. But I also learned that there's something equally valuable about the experience of building something from nothing, of earning your place in the world, of knowing that your success is the result of your own efforts and determination. The inheritance allowed me to be generous in ways that went far beyond my own family. I began quietly supporting local charities, funding scholarships for underprivileged students, and helping families in my community who were struggling financially. I discovered that having money meant having the power to make a difference in people's lives, but doing it anonymously, without recognition or credit, was far more satisfying than any public display of wealth could ever be. 3 years after the wedding, my son and his wife announced that they were expecting their first child. As I watched them prepare for parenthood, making lists of everything they would need to buy, researching the best prices on cribs and car seats, and worrying about the cost of childcare, I felt the familiar tug of wanting to ease their burden. But I also saw how this process of preparing, of planning, of making sacrifices for their future child was already making them better parents. They were learning to be resourceful, to prioritize, to work together as a team. These were skills that no amount of money could teach them. When my granddaughter was born, I held her in my arms and made a promise that would have seemed impossible just a few years earlier. I promised her that she would never want for anything truly important, education, healthcare, opportunities, but that she would also never be robbed of the chance to discover her own strength, her own capabilities, her own sense of accomplishment. The trust fund I had established would ensure her college education, but she would never know about it until she had earned her way there through her own efforts. The secret I had kept for so long had evolved into something much more complex and meaningful than I had ever imagined. It wasn't just about hiding money. It was about understanding the true value of struggle, of achievement, of building something that belongs to you because you worked for it. It was about recognizing that sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is not what you can provide for them, but what you can protect them from. As I write this, my son is now 35 years old. He has built a successful career, owns his own home, and is raising 2 beautiful children with his wife. They have faced challenges, job changes, health scares, financial setbacks, but they have faced them together, and they have emerged stronger each time. They have never asked me for money, never expected me to solve their problems, and never taken their independence for granted. They have built a life that is entirely their own, and the pride they feel in their accomplishments is genuine and well-earned. The inheritance continues to grow, and I continue to use it in ways that support them without their knowledge. When my son needed a new car after an accident, I arranged for him to win a contest he had never entered. When they were struggling to afford gymnastics lessons for their daughter, I anonymously sponsored a scholarship program at the local gym. When their son needed expensive medical treatment, I ensured that their insurance covered every penny. They have never known about these interventions, and they never will. In their minds, they have been fortunate, blessed, lucky. They have no idea that their luck has been carefully orchestrated by someone who loves them more than life itself. The question that haunts me now is whether I made the right choice. Would their lives have been better if I had simply told them about the inheritance from the beginning? Would they have been happier, more secure, more able to pursue their dreams without the constant worry about money? Or would they have become different people, less driven, less appreciative, less connected to the satisfaction that comes from earning your own way in the world? I think about the man my son has become, and I see his father in him. He has the same quiet determination, the same work ethic, the same ability to find joy in simple pleasures. He values family over material possessions, relationships over status, and experiences over things. He is generous with others, even when he doesn't have much to spare, and he has taught his children the same values. Would he be the same person if he had grown up knowing about the inheritance? Would he have developed the same character, the same strength, the same appreciation for the things that truly matter? The truth is, I will never know. I made a choice, and I have to live with the consequences of that choice, both positive and negative. But as I watch my grandchildren grow, as I see them learning to work for the things they want, as I witness the pride in their faces when they achieve something through their own efforts, I believe that my decision was the right one. They are learning lessons that money cannot teach, developing character that wealth cannot buy, and building foundations that will serve them well regardless of what financial challenges or opportunities they may face in the future. The secret I have kept for all these years has become more than just hidden money. It has become a philosophy, a way of understanding the relationship between wealth and character, between security and strength, between having and becoming. It has taught me that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is not to give them what they want, but to protect their ability to become who they need to be. There are nights when I lie awake wondering if I should tell them now. They are adults, established in their careers, confident in their abilities. Surely they could handle the knowledge of the inheritance without it changing who they are or how they live their lives. But then I think about the peace they have in their current circumstances, the satisfaction they derive from their own achievements, the security they have found in knowing they can take care of themselves and their family through their own efforts. Is it worth risking that peace for the sake of honesty? The inheritance has given me the freedom to be the grandmother I want to be without being the grandmother they need me to be. I can spoil my grandchildren with experiences rather than things, with time rather than money, with memories rather than material possessions. I can take them on trips, enroll them in activities, and expose them to opportunities that broaden their horizons, but I do it in a way that feels natural and manageable rather than overwhelming and suspicious. Perhaps the most valuable lesson I have learned from this experience is that wealth is not just about having money, it's about having the wisdom to use money in ways that truly benefit the people you love. It's about understanding that sometimes the greatest gift is not what you give, but what you choose not to give. It's about recognizing that strength comes from struggle, that character is built through challenge, and that the things we work hardest for are often the things we value most. The secret I have kept has allowed my son and his family to build a life that is authentically theirs. Every success they have achieved, every obstacle they have overcome, every moment of joy they have experienced has been genuine and earned. They have never had to wonder if people love them for who they are or for what they have. They have never had to question whether their achievements are real or simply the result of financial advantage. They have never had to worry about the burden of wealth or the responsibility that comes with having more than they need. In keeping the secret, I have learned that love is not always about giving everything you have. Sometimes it's about giving exactly what someone needs, even if that means giving nothing at all. It's about understanding that the people we love most are often stronger than we think they are, more capable than we give them credit for, and more resilient than we imagine them to be. It's about trusting that they can build their own lives, solve their own problems, and find their own happiness without our intervention. The inheritance sits in my account, growing larger each year, waiting for the day when it might be needed or when the time might be right to reveal it. But for now, it serves a different purpose. It serves as a safety net that allows my family to take risks, to pursue dreams, to live boldly without the fear of catastrophic failure. It serves as a source of anonymous generosity that allows me to help others without recognition or credit. Most importantly, It serves as a reminder that the most powerful thing about wealth is not what it can buy, but what it can protect and preserve. As I look toward the future, I know that someday this secret will be revealed. Perhaps it will be in my will, perhaps it will be when my grandchildren are old enough to handle the responsibility, or perhaps it will be when some crisis makes it necessary to use the money openly. But until that day comes, I will continue to carry this secret, not as a burden but as a gift to the people I love most, a gift of independence, of strength, of the knowledge that they are capable of building beautiful lives with their own hands and their own hearts. The story I have shared with you today is not just about money, and it's not just about secrets. It's about the complex nature of love, about the difficult decisions we make for the people we care about, and about the unexpected ways that keeping quiet can sometimes be the most powerful thing we can do. It's about understanding that wealth is not just about having money, it's about having the wisdom to use that money in ways that truly serve the people we love, even if they never know about it. This secret has taught me that sometimes the most profound acts of love are invisible, that the most important gifts are the ones that go unnoticed, and that the greatest strength we can give someone is the opportunity to discover their own power. It has shown me that money can be a tool for good, but only when it's used with wisdom, discretion, and a deep understanding of what people truly need to thrive. So, here's my challenge to you. What secrets are you carrying? What difficult decisions have you made for the people you love? What would you do if you suddenly had the power to change someone's life, but knew that doing so might rob them of the chance to change it themselves? These are the questions that keep me awake at night, and they're the questions that I believe we all must grapple with if we want to truly understand what it means to love someone completely. The inheritance continues to grow, the secret continues to shape our lives, and the love that motivated my decision continues to guide every choice I make. Whether I was right or wrong, whether my family would have been better off knowing the truth from the beginning, whether the lessons they learned through struggle were worth the stress and worry they endured, these are questions that I may never be able to answer definitively. But what I do know is that the people I love are strong, capable, and resilient. They have built beautiful lives, raised wonderful children, and found happiness in ways that money alone could never provide. If you've made it this far in the story, you understand that some secrets are more than just hidden information. They're acts of love, expressions of faith, and demonstrations of the kind of trust that believes people are capable of more than they think they are. You understand that wealth is not just about having money, but about having the wisdom to use it in ways that truly serve the people we care about most. Now I want to hear from you. What's the biggest secret you've ever kept for someone you love? What difficult decision have you made that nobody else understood? How do you balance honesty with protection, truth with love, giving with preserving someone's independence? Share your story in the comments below, because I believe that we all have secrets that shape our lives in ways we never expected, and sometimes sharing those stories can help us understand the complex nature of love and the impossible choices we make for the people who matter most. And if this story has made you think differently about money, about family, about the nature of love and secrecy, then share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because I'll be sharing more stories that challenge the way we think about relationships, about wealth, about the difficult decisions we face as we navigate the complexities of caring for the people we love. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future stories that will make you question everything you think you know about love, money, and the secrets we keep. Because at the end of the day, we're all carrying secrets, making difficult choices, and trying to figure out how to love the people in our lives in ways that truly serve them. And sometimes, the most profound thing we can do is keep quiet and let them discover their own strength, their own capabilities, and their own power to build the lives they truly want to live.